Welcome to the Make and Design podcast. I'm your host, Carina Gardner. On this podcast, we're unraveling the everyday joys and dilemmas of design, making, and business. For makers who want to be designers and for designers who are makers, this is your inside scoop to help you grow your business and bring more creativity to your life. Today, let's talk a little bit how belief creates decision making. Now, I have really liked over the last few years, especially during the pandemic, how we saw people make a change and start focusing a little bit better on mental health. And part of the reason I think that was so important is because I know that the way we think actually determines our entire lives, because the decisions we make, the clarity we have, all come from the thoughts that we have in our head, which is so crazy. When you start really breaking down the way we think about ourselves and we think about others and the judgments that we make. So I would love to talk today about how belief really does make a big difference to the decisions that we make. And I see this in particular because I work with so many designers. I see what they're talking about and how they're doing. And I'm watching how certain designers are like, I'm doing great, I'm doing the work, and they move forward. And it's like so crazy because then they'll tell me 4 months later they're making $1,500 a month or whatever. So it's like, it is very clear that the ones that very much believe in themselves, that like if they are taught the skills, that they will be able to do what they need to do in order to become designers that make money. Now, this is a very interesting thing, and I want to pose this question to you, and I want you to think about it really hard. Do you believe you can be as good of a designer as I am? Really think to yourself, like in belief in your heart, are you like, no? Or are you like, yeah, I totally can? All right. Do you believe, and if I'm not someone that you know even their design work, I want you to think about the designer that you really love. Do you believe you can be as good of a designer as that person? Think to yourself. Do you really think that you can be as good of a designer as that person? All right, so here's the deal. The answer to both of those, even though I know logically a lot of you know this, is yes. You absolutely can be as good of a designer as me, and you absolutely can be as good of a designer as whatever designer that you are thinking of, okay? Now, how do I know that, okay? Many of the people who listen to this podcast, and this might not be you, so think in your head what you've been doing, have designed for less years than I have, okay? So I've been designing for about 20 plus years, all right? So the only reason I'm at the place I am in my design work and in my design business is because for 20 years, I have been consistently designing, most of the time for 40 hours a week, okay? So for 40 hours a week, for 20 years, I've been doing this. Now, where are you? Have you been doing this for 6 months, 3 months, 1 year, 2 years? So if you have been saying to yourself, I can't be as good of a designer as Carina, I think you need to rephrase that, because you can be as good of a designer, same talent as me, that I was in year 2 of Carina being a designer, or year 2 of the designer that you loved what they were doing. It's a comparison more on time and effort, you guys. And so often we spend all of our time looking and building belief systems that are around people that they're not in the same categories as us because of the time and effort you've been in. If you are 6 months in, you can be like, I'm probably, if not better, a designer than Carina was at 6 months. In a year, I am just as good of a designer as any other designer at the 1 year mark, okay? If you're not comparing yourself to other people. But that's what I'm talking about. So often our belief system is like, I can never be as good of a designer as so-and-so. When that's just ridiculous. You're probably exactly at the same place that they were at 6 months, maybe exactly the same place that they were at 1 year, at 2 years, at 3 years. Most of my designers definitely are better than I was in year 1, like by far. Like I look at my designers' work and they're like, I've been doing this for 3 months. And I'm like, it looks like you've been doing this for 3 years. Like it is so much better than where I was 3 months in. I mean, 100% with a Ph.D, okay? So the thing is, it's all about time and effort and paying attention to that and really believing in yourself. And I think by simply restructuring in our head that belief system, like I want to be as good as X, Y, and Z, and instead restructuring it to think about it in year and think about I'm probably just as good as that designer is in year, whatever. Okay. The other thing is, don't let the world out there fool you and make you think that an illustrator is the best illustrator in the world. They're the best illustrator in their style, just like you're going to be the best illustrator in your style. Okay. So this whole thing, I hear this all the time, the thing in my head, I'm having trouble getting on paper, I'm having trouble getting in the computer. You guys, there is a release that should happen to us as designers and as illustrators where we are just letting it flow out of us. And even though the thing in our head doesn't match the thing on the paper, that's okay. That's the development of our style coming out on paper or in our computer. And we need to accept that instead of reject it. When we reject it, we're rejecting the creativity and the fulfillment that is coming out of us to the very core of us, because it's what our hand produced. It's what our brain actually produced. Whatever coordination between my brain and my hand that came out on my computer or came out on my paper, it's what I produced. I made that. That came from me. I should be proud of that. And if it doesn't match the thing in my head, that's okay. The thing in my head, that coordination from my hand to my brain, it got me there. It got me to whatever art piece it ended up being. And I need to be okay with that. If anything, I shouldn't just be okay with it. I should be proud of that. That came from me. That came from my soul. And we should need to stop this expectation that the thing in our head absolutely has to be the thing on the paper. It does not have to be that way. And it shouldn't be that way. It's whatever gets produced in the process. I will admit, I'm not a big journey person. I love the end destination. That whole thing where they talk about like point A to B and how you're supposed to enjoy that journey along the way. I will admit, I am impatient. I just want to get to point B. Get me there, okay? But I will say that this whole idea of and believing in ourselves and making sure that this artwork shows up the way it needs to show up, this is a journey. And I wish it were some other way. I wish you just got to point B like that. I wish you just got there. But a couple of things happen. One, the thing in your head changes to be whatever ends up on the paper. Or did I say B? I think this point B. Or the next thing that happens is that you just accept your own, I think most people would call it limitations, but I would say your own style, your own unique abilities. If you flip that switch, the limitations that we all have, and guess what? We all have them. They contract to create our personal style, our personal look, our personal thing, okay? And so because of that, I really want you to start believing in yourself in a way that makes sense, okay? Because I think it's really easy to be like, just believe in yourself. That doesn't get you anywhere because it's like it's in our hearts, right? But instead, it's more about logically thinking and going through the steps of understanding what's happening from our brain to our hand, what's happening from our brain to our heart, and getting smarter about it. Being smart about what is happening in our design work. And honestly, knowing that you can learn, that you can grow in skill, that's the biggest thing. That's part of the reason we actually do design boot camps. One of the reasonings behind this, before we even let anyone into Design Suite, by the way, if you've heard about Design Suite, which is we have a multiple tier program, and you're like, how do we get in, Carina? We only do it to Design Boot Camp. Now, once in a while, we would let people like come in through, some other kind of video or come talk to me. We don't do that anymore. It's like you have to go to a boot camp. Why? Because we find that we understand people's belief systems better, especially when you get on a call with someone on my team, because we understand better where your brain is at, what you're trying to do. And if we can see that you believe in yourself, that there are things that you can do, that you're willing to put the work in to build some more skill level, to build some more strategy, if we know you're willing to put down money and time, guys, money is renewable. You guys have heard me say this before. So I care a little less about the money part. I really care about the time part. But most people associate their time with money. So that's why we put a price on it. It's a low price, but we put a price on it because we want to make sure that you are going to spend the time necessary to learn what you have to learn in order to get to the next level. And we know that the people who learn, they also believe that they can grow. And if you're willing to learn in order to grow, we love those people. Those are the designers who make it, you guys. Those are the designers who make it. All right. Thank you so much for being here. I love having you on the podcast and on the YouTube channel. If you are wondering about Design Bootcamp, it's just at carinagardnercourses.com/design bootcamp. We have a 10-day session going on, I'm pretty sure right now, or maybe it's only a 5-day session, but it lasts for 10 days. So you get into the bootcamp, you have 10 days to watch the content. It's only 5 hours of content, so you shouldn't struggle with that. If you struggle with that, you guys, and I've heard people say, I can't do it in 10 days. I'm like, design is not for you, because this is a commitment. And we love people who are committed to becoming designers. So 5 hours of content, you have 10 days to watch it. We oh my gosh, the number of people who told me they zoomed through the videos and they're just like, it clicked. I got it. I understood what you were saying. I got so many ideas from it. That is what we really want. So that's just carinagardnercourses.com/design bootcamp. Go check it out if you haven't been to one. If you have been to one, hopefully it changed your whole worldview about what design can really be about, which makes me very, very happy. All right, guys, thanks so much, and I will see you soon. Hey, did you know that you can visit me at makeanddesign.com to learn more about this podcast and join my VIP group for weekly freebies? I can't wait to see you there.